Hello everybody and welcome back to the Blossom Review. Nowadays, I feel that the world is becoming more and more chaotic by the minute. So if you are looking for a warm place of optimism and comfort, let me introduce you to NTV's After School Doctor today. So After School Doctor, or Houkago Karte, which literally means After School Clinical Records, is an adaptation of Hinase Mayu's manga series of the same name. Originally, the show aired on Nippon TV from October to December of 2024, so the same period as Light of My Lion that we talked about here in the channel a few months ago. I will leave a card somewhere so you guys can check it out if you guys haven't seen our review for Light of My Lion yet. So the show came out in Japan and received international distribution through Netflix. The problem was, Netflix started releasing the episodes without subtitles. It took weeks for Netflix to start subtitling the show in English, guys. I don't know about other languages, but in English, it took them a long time. So I noticed that lots of people actually saw After School Doctor on their homepage, clicked on it, but then realized there were no subtitles and sort of gave up. So today I'm here to say, guys, go back. I'm here to encourage you to go back to Netflix and give After School Doctor a chance, because this show is a little pearl of Japanese television, is full of optimism, of joy and hope, and it is definitely a show, it's an excellent show that deserves to be watched. So this review today is spoiler free, you don't need to worry about it, so just come with me and let me persuade you. If you don't know anything about the show, After School Doctor follows Dr. Makino Shun, played by Matsushita Kouhei, a pediatrician assigned to an elementary school to cover for a school nurse on maternity leave. He is very grumpy, which scares both the teachers and students at first, but he's extremely attentive and he wholeheartedly cares about people's health. So with his keen observational skills, Dr. Makino is able to identify and treat even the trickiest of conditions, and so he quickly becomes the help that both students and their families and the teachers need. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Karen, we've seen this premise a million times before. A grumpy doctor who is very intelligent with keen observational skills that can treat and heal anything and anyone. I know. But After School Doctor, I think After School Doctor is different. After School Doctor is different for several reasons, and I think that's what I'm here to talk about. I want to tell you why I think After School Doctor is different from your run-of-the-mill medical drama. After School Doctor, in a sense, I felt that After School Doctor is a bit of a companion to Dr. Storks. I don't know if you guys have watched Dr. Storks. It's on Netflix. Great show as well, so make sure to watch it as well, maybe before or after, don't know. Anyway, Dr. Storks on Netflix, great show, has 2 seasons. But After School Doctor, I think After School Doctor is different, because After School Doctor is a deeply empathetic show about childhood, about upbringing, and about self-care. Every single episode of the series reminds us of the beauty of kindness, of compassion, of perseverance through this ensemble of incredibly compelling characters that constantly ignite changes in one another and in their environment. After School Doctor unravels at a very comforting pace, but at the same time it offers this universe bustling with the joy and the energy of youth, but without ever becoming too loud or too chaotic. I think that After School Doctor offers a very subtle, well-written script that allows its character to blossom naturally. The show focuses on healing, of course. It is a medical drama of sorts. I would say it's more like a medical slice of life than drama per se. But I think healing and change are always present in the show, but they are never miraculous. Because in everyday life, or in real life, let's say, people take time to get better. So the script of After School Doctor develops a narrative that perfectly balances engaging fiction and plausible reality, encouraging us to rejoice with the small victories and appreciate the patience and the dedication required to overcome our physical, mental and emotional struggles. And I think this is very important because it is difficult. I think writing a medical show is incredibly difficult because in real life everything takes time. It takes time for you to get better, and you don't have this time in fiction, right? If you want to show the slow process, this is slow process of healing, exactly the way it is in real life, in fiction, it's gonna be super boring. On TV, in a film, it's gonna be super boring. So what a screenwriter has to do when writing a medical drama or a medical show of any sort is create this balance between what is engaging and what is plausible. And I think After School Doctor does this very well. I love that both young and older characters in After School Doctor are well-rounded beings, well-rounded beings with strengths and weaknesses, and the show fleshes out their backstories, their personalities bit by bit throughout its 10-episode run. I love that in the show every scene moves the narrative forward. It prompts the characters to grow, it prompts the characters to relate to one another. And because that's the point, it's a very empathetic show, so empathy is present everywhere all the time in the show. And I think as observers we are invited to cheer these characters on and learn alongside them, and we end up embarking on this very inspiring journey that is equally engrossing and soothing. And I think it's very much worth mentioning that this constant state of comfort is supported by meaningful and very effective visuals. The cinematography and the production design are excellent. They create this very warm, very tender, very bright environment that convey this warmth, this optimism that runs through the entire script. Now let's talk about some of the, I don't want to say themes, I want to say ideas that permeate this script and that make After School Doctor different from your run-of-the-mill medical drama, medical series, medical slice of life, I guess. So starting with childhood. Children are at the very heart of After School Doctor. The show explores their inner worlds, their struggles, their triumphs, how they express emotion, how they establish relationships, and it is their dynamics with one another and with the adults around them that establish the pace of the show and give the narrative, give energy to the narrative. I think the show explores the fact that children are full of dichotomies. Children can be incredibly brave but fearful. They can be incredibly kind but self-centered at times. They can be incredibly sociable but reserved. And it's their ability to endure, to grow, to change, to connect with others that is explored in every single case that Dr. Makino faces in the series. I think After School Doctor explores the ups and downs of childhood through the challenges that these children in the show face and the relationships that they foster. So, talking about relationships, I think this is the most important aspect of After School Doctor. It is for sure my favorite aspect of the show. The show places a lot of importance on how adults see and treat children, and it questions the right balance between what children ought to hear and what children want to hear from the adults around them. Because in real life, adults tend to see, not just in real life, but in fiction as well, adults tend to see children as immature, inexperienced beings who can't understand complex ideas, or who constantly need to be protected from the harsh realities of the world. However, Dr. Makino sees and treats children as equals, and that ignites a relationship of trust and fosters a great sense of responsibility in the children in the show. In that way, children know, or children trust that Dr. Makino won't lie to them, that they can rely on him to guide them and to provide them with the answers that they are looking for. So you see that Dr. Makino never shies away from pointing out the children's wrongdoings, what they are doing wrong. He never shies away from showing children the dangers and the limits of reality, which makes the children in the show more understanding, more considerate, and more accountable for their own actions. However, Dr. Makino comes to realize that sometimes you do need to tell people what they want to hear, not just children, anybody. You need to tell people what they want to hear. Sometimes the cold, hard truth doesn't really work. And that's the objective, I think, of this character. Throughout the show, you see that Dr. Makino needs to find the right balance between reason and emotion, but without ever changing his personality. I think this is important. You do realize that by the end of the show, Dr. Makino's perspective of the world has changed, but he's still Dr. Makino. His personality is still the same, because in real life, we don't completely change ourselves. Our personality is, fairly constant. It doesn't really go through 180-degree changes. We do change, I think we do change the way we see things, the way that we see the world around us, but we don't change who we are deep down. So, little spoiler here, Dr. Makino changes his perspective of the world, but doesn't change who he is, which is lovely to watch. I think most importantly, you see that teachers and parents, even though at first they were a bit, oh my God, who is this guy? Why is he so grumpy? Why is he here? You notice that teachers and parents learn a lot from Dr. Makino's approach to children, and that fosters a series of very sincere conversations throughout the show. Sincere conversations between the children themselves and between the children and the adults around them, which makes for such a fascinating, such a stimulating watch. Now here we have to mention something very important. We have to praise the director's ability to direct children. After School Doctor is dominated by child actors who deliver excellent performances. I think these performances are achieved not only thanks to their acting chops, but also thanks to meticulous casting and directing. It is very, very difficult to direct actors. Full stop. But it is 1,000 times more difficult to direct children. And I love that in this show you have young characters who all have different personalities, which are conveyed with such heart and such conviction. And they express this wide range of emotions throughout the show: joy, sorrow, fear, insecurity, pride. They laugh and cry with the same intensity, and you watching them, you can't help but celebrate their victories and cry with their pain. So you have a lot of children in the show delivering excellent performances, really. And it's just amazing to see like 20-30 children, you know, delivering such great acting. So I think we have to praise the directors, because this is very, very difficult to achieve. Now, that's not to say that the adult cast doesn't do their job very well. Matsushita Kohei is excellent. He really is. He's fantastic. He has this very grumpy exterior, but his performance is super nuanced, thanks to very, very expressive eyes and very precise body language. So you see that combining his eyes and his body language, he conveys so much more than what the script dictates. He is amazing. He's extraordinary. I fell in love with him throughout the show. It's just impossible not to, because you see, you can't help but relate somehow to him. He's a very flawed person, but he does his best to discover how to convey this sense of care towards his patients. And, you know, he dedicates himself to doing his job to the best of his abilities, because he cares about people. He wants to do this job the right way. And you just can't help but fall in love with him. And I think it's also important to mention a character that is also present, always present in the show, let's say, Morikawa Aoi, who plays the very, very dedicated teacher Shinoya Yoko. Morikawa balances Matsushita's grumpy personality with a very warm-hearted delivery. She delivers this teacher, she's almost motherly. This teacher who has the best intentions, but sometimes she doesn't really know how to act on these intentions. And she sometimes forgets that she needs to take care of herself before trying to take care of others. But I think overall, the entire cast delivers in sync, chemistry-filled performances that I think help immerse us even further in this after school doctor universe. Now, After School Doctor also provides a bit of insight into Japan's education system, and it highlights how teachers play this vital role beyond the classroom. I know that After School Doctor is a bit utopian. Reality is a lot more complex, but the series emphasizes that children can only grow in happy, healthy environments and reach their full potential when parents, teachers, and doctors work together. Now, children understand and respond to the problems of the adults around them. Marriage problems, financial struggles, family illnesses, children see it all, and they are automatically affected by the way that the adults around them face and handle these problems. That's why a solid support system needs to be established between family, teachers, and doctors. Because if these three circles work together to create a strong community that can serve as a safety net, children will be able to move past their struggles. Despite facing these problems, children will be able to move forward, to have their needs looked after. And I think this is a very, very important message in the show. After School Doctor reminds us that with these solid support system, with families, teachers, and doctors working together, even if one of them wavers, the other one can help can help this child face this problem and overcome this problem. I think the show also portrays the social role that the school should play. The show is full of very dedicated homeroom teachers that worry about their students, that worry about their students' well-being, even outside the school grounds. You see these teachers working very hard to care for these students. And I think the important thing about After School Doctor is that it leaves us with food for thought. How can we create healthier, happier, and more compassionate communities for our children? How can families, teachers, and doctors work together to establish safer and healthier environments for children to grow up in? So I think it's something that, you know, it makes you think while you're watching the show. This is actually a topic that we've already talked about here in the channel. We talked about it in our Love Scout review a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you guys have watched our review, but I'll leave a card somewhere here so you guys can check it out. For children to grow up well and adults to live happier lives, it's not just our body that needs to be taken care of. This is another very important aspect of After School Doctor. The series goes beyond physical illnesses to deal with mental disorders and emotional suffering. Our bodies and minds are intrinsically linked, and our health is never only just about what can be seen. Often what makes us suffer the most is invisible to the eye. So After School Doctor reminds us that our bodies, minds, and hearts need equal amounts of attention and care. It reminds us that it's okay to need and ask for help, whether because something physically hurts or because we have a broken heart. It is important to remember that in order to help and care for others, we need to help and care for ourselves first. And I think this is very, very important in the show. This is a very important idea that you see pop up throughout the entire show. The show introduces us to a range of physical, mental, and emotional struggles. So After School Doctor has this more holistic approach to medicine, let's say. And I think that's one thing that makes it very different. You often see in medical shows it's something very physical, right? It's the surgery or this very crazy disease, etc., etc. But After School Doctor is it's not just about physical illnesses. It talks a little bit about everything, about the physical, about the mental, about the emotional side of medicine, or how medicine can help us solve problems in all these different areas, let's say. And I think that gives After School Doctor a very refreshing perspective, and it also serves to strengthen the show's themes as well. Now the question is, should you watch After School Doctor? Yes, absolutely, go for it. After School Doctor is extraordinary. It is gentle, it is sincere, it is heartfelt. It is not only entertaining but profoundly moving. I think that After School Doctor offers a group of humane and very charismatic characters in a narrative that makes us think about our own lives, our own childhoods, our own values. So if you are looking for a heartwarming and comforting show, I think After School Doctor is exactly what you need right now. So After School Doctor is on Netflix, make sure to watch it. And a quick reminder that this review is also on the Blossom Review. I'll leave the link in the description. Tomorrow we are publishing a brand new article on Japanese cinema, so make sure to stop by. And well, I hope that you like the video, and I hope that you subscribe so I can see you here next Thursday for another chat. Have a fantastic day today, a fantastic weekend ahead, and I'll see you very, very soon. Take care of yourself. Bye bye. Thank you.